Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Hope everyone out there's having a good day. Y'all, we got a good one we're going to get into today. We ain't going to do too much talking. Enough with the chit chat. Let's do what we all came here for. Let's get into the video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Wait, how are you allowed to stream the UFC?
You know, man, Mr. Dana White.
The company know that sends the takedown requests that he'd given you permission, so they were just like, yeah, they were getting pretty frantic about it all.
Look at it.
See ya.
Look at that. Canadian made.
Oh. I've always wondered, why is it the older you get, the faster time seems to fly? Daniel, do you agree with that statement?
Oh my gosh. Especially if you have children. Forget it. I can't. Spencer's going to be 20 in 2 weeks. I'm like, there is no way in hell that you're going to be 20 already. It flies by.
So
Crazy.
why is it flying by faster when you're older? Because my mom and dad used to say that too, Gandhi.
Yeah.
They would say the older you get, the faster it goes.
So apparently there are a couple things that go into this. One of them, we know that the older you are, the less amount of time each year is percentage-wise in your life. So when you're 1 year is 100% of your life. It's going to feel like forever. But as you get older, that stuff starts to diminish as far as percentage goes. But they're also saying that the lack of creating new memories makes it seem like your life is much shorter and time is shorter because you're not creating new things in your brain to remember. So if you have a day, which Elvis, you talk about this all the time, of doing something new, taking a new way home, and you're keeping your mind active, that it actually makes a day feel much longer than if you just stay in the same routine and don't create a new memory.
There was a study that came out recently that showed that in normal autopsies of people that didn't die of a brain problem, that when they were doing the autopsies and looking for plastic, that we could find them. And the amount of plastic that was found in the average human brain is about the amount you'd find in a typical plastic picnic spoon, just distributed throughout the brain. This is like it's a person who's died of something else. Wow. Does that mean that, like you and I are actually, you got a plastic spoon worth of plastic in our brain? There's been some people that calculated, and this has been, the actual math has been challenged, but there was an estimate that, some people might consume as much as a credit card's worth of plastic every single week in their food if they're not careful about it. But we're also finding microplastics in breast milk. We're finding microplastics in testicles. We're finding microplastics in human semen. How's it get there? And urologists who are doing surgery on the penis are finding that in the human flesh, when they look into the microscope, we never used to look for this. Now we're looking for it, that there's even microplastics in the flesh of the penis. Okay.
The system wasn't built for you to win. You went to school to memorize facts you never use. You were trained to raise your hand, wait your turn, and follow instructions. Then they told you, get a job, work 40 hours a week, give half of it to tax, retire at 67 if you're lucky. That's not a life. That's a script. And most people don't question it because they're too tired from living it. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's when you realize freedom was never going to be handed to you. You have to build it. And that's why I teach digital products, because ownership is the only way out. No boss, no begging, no clocking. You move different when you know the system was never designed to serve you. It was designed to use you. Break the script or stay stuck in it.
One thing that really keeps me up at night is the mystery of Albert Einstein's last words. Einstein was born on March 14th, 1879, and for the first 4 years of his life, his parents were pretty concerned because he never spoke out loud. Until one day, while at the dinner table, he looked up at his family and said, "This soup is too hot." His parents, obviously shocked that their child had chosen to speak, asked him why he had never spoken before, and he replied, because up until now, everything had been in order. Personally, I think it's a pretty funny line from the man who would go on to change humanity's understanding of the universe. And the fact that he spent the first 3 to 4 years of his life just quietly observing probably played a huge role in that. After general relativity and special relativity and proving the existence of atoms, Einstein spent the last 30 years of his life unsuccessfully trying to come up with a theory of everything. One single framework that explained how all of the fundamental forces of the universe work together. While on his deathbed, a nurse came in to check on him, to whom he said his final words, except they were in German, which she didn't understand and couldn't recall.
Hey, remember that train that derailed failed like a couple years ago in East Palestine, Ohio. Yeah, it's still leaking chemicals. They haven't cleaned it up yet. But Norfolk Southern hasn't cleaned it up because they can just afford to pay the fine every day. Fuck you.
I think on one side of it, I think we really do have an entire subspecies of creatures that do exist mostly inside the earth, and they are not readily surface dwelling anymore. And I do believe, like in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, man, inside the London Bridge is a massive room, like a throne room, where they engage in this magic. But this brotherhood of the serpent, they call upon Nachash, the dragon. And
would that be in normal terms Satan?
Yeah, most people know him as Satan, right? Yeah. But like there is a great red dragon. Like it's a physical, that's what he looks like in reality. He was cursed, and man, he made him a monster. Yahweh made him a monster. And they would commune with these things. There's 13 grandfathers take 13 of their grandsons, and they bring them into these rooms and do these things on these specific times and rituals for all kinds of stuff. But the dragons tell them the future. This is like always what they've been able to do, is like Satan leads Yeshua up onto a great high place and says, I shows him all the nations of the earth and all their kingdoms and their reigns in a moment of time. He shows them the future. That's what they do. They can show you what's to come. This is why we get hunted by them. He knows if we're going to be part of his adversaries. He knows if we're going to be on his enemy list. And that's why he targets us at our youth. So it so happens, so many people, they're like, why is my life in a nightmare from the beginning? It's because you have a purpose and a destiny that adversary absolutely categorically does not want to come to pass. It's a real life Terminator scenario. And so he sends his assets in to destroy people, to ruin their life. And those meeting places happen when they sit down in these rooms and they try to call up these creatures. It's from inside the earth. It wasn't like ethereal mist. They would come into the room and they assume the offerings that were given there, and then the words of the Nachash would come forth, and they would prophesy to these guys. Like they would prophesy out of the mouth of the serpent what each one of their life callings, their shots. He's the shot caller, man. It's like a pimp from prison.
Ain't no more. I like how he said that, because it hit me. Like, I truly feel that the day I start eating clean is the day I go to that next level and fulfill my destiny, what I'm put on this earth to do. But it's so difficult. I always say whatever you want to call it, the universe, the devil, bad energy, does not want to let me fulfill that. So they make it so difficult for me to eat clean. Like, this is the hardest thing ever for me, y'all. Drinking was a piece of cake. At first it wasn't. But one day, that craving to have a sip of alcohol, it just disappeared. I don't know what happened. Now, I didn't have a problem. I wasn't an alcoholic or anything. Towards the end, I started just drinking like maybe a 6-pack over the weekend. Like, I never had a problem with drinking, but I just knew it wasn't good for me, for my mind. But one day, that craving, it just disappeared. One day I had it, never had it again. Since then, I haven't had one craving for it. But of the eating, y'all, the eating, to some people, that might be a piece of cake. Like, man, you're just weak. You're just weak-minded. You just can't do it. But to them, quitting drinking is difficult. Where to me, I'm like, man, that's a piece of cake. You know what I mean? So I feel like everyone's got that thing, that monkey on their back, and that's what's holding them to get in their destiny. Like he was saying, that's the devil. That's his soldiers out there trying to make you not fulfill that. And I've always felt that. Before I even seen this clip, I've always felt that. Like, I can't stop eating clean, because I know the day I do, I'm going to that next level. If I do, God willing, I do. But I know I'll get to that next level with that, because when I'm eating clean, y'all, my mind is just super sharp, super sharp.
Would. Guess what? Let me tell y'all something. Don't waste your time and move out here. Ain't no more Hollywood. You want to drive? You want me to FaceTime y'all when the show over? Let's ride past NBC Studio. That motherfucker a Walmart now.
Yeah,
crazy. Ain't no more NBC Studio over there in Burbank.
They're simply hiring people or recruiting people, or as they say, talent from the internet.
They know you would do it for nothing. They ain't paying you to be on TV like that no more. What they paying you to be on TV is a slap in the face. You
it's
think
free
your
right here.
favorite superstar got paper? Listen to their stories. They've been on movies and everything, and them motherfuckers paying a note on a 2014 Durango.
You know what the biggest scam going is? The paper bag industry. You wouldn't have to chop down a tree to do it. You chop down a stalk of a plant and you make gigantic chunks of this paper that's almost indestructible. It's so different. You can barely tear it. You have an acre of trees and you chop them down. It's going to be fucking years before you can chop down the new ones that you plant afterwards. It takes forever for them to grow. But hemp, you can redo it every fucking few months.
It's a shame they don't use that.
Now watch how low it goes to the ground. Look at his arm. Look at his arm. Look. Look how, dude. Look how low. He's 6'7". Look how low his arm is. It's
all skinny
I have
too.
videos on this.
What am I seeing?
Look, but he looks just like Kobe. You'll see. And this is before Kobe was even anybody knew who he was. This is 1992 Olympics. Keep going. You'll see more.
Bam.
Look. Look at his eye.
Did you see how the eyes change?
Yeah, that's what they do.
Bam.
Didn't really see nothing. Good job. The arm I did.
What did moms across America find after testing Chick-fil-A sandwiches?
We found an aviary contraceptive in them, narcobazine, in Chick-fil-A sandwiches. And so we are extremely concerned about people who have been eating Chick-fil-A because we know it's quite addictive.
So not only aviary contraceptives in there, but they just brought back antibiotic chicken.
So after we put out that information that we found an aviary contraceptive, they took away the phrase that they have, which is no antibiotics ever. They took it down off their website and they put up no antibiotics important for human health.
Okay, because y'all think I just be talking. They are programming our kids to lust. This commercial is for Nickelodeon. Come on, man. Like, what are we doing here? There's no way a board of members sat back, watched these commercials, and said, oh, yeah, this is appropriate for kids. If you listen to the song, it's not even a song for kids. Out of the millions of songs they could have chosen. And if you say they only chose that song because of Tyler, well, maybe don't get Tyler to host a kids award if she don't have any kids songs. So just imagine K through 4 walking around singing this song. I'm assuming that's the target audience. You got kindergartners through 4th grade walking around singing this song. They have no idea what it means. Of course, us as adults know what she's talking about, but they just sing it. They just think it's a good song, not knowing that the song is filled with lust. And if you didn't know, the devil don't care about your age, your race, your wealth status. He is going to come to whoever he can get, and they are making it 100 times more easier because they are just feeding our kids this mess, man. I'm done with America. How is this commercial for kids? Go listen to that song and tell me if that's kid appropriate. But it ain't no accident. They've been doing this, man. They've been programming kids to lust through the music, through the TV shows, trying to confuse them. They've been doing this, man. This is America's plan. They want you to lust. When you're lusting, you're at a low vibration. If they get you early, they got you.
There's a hidden monopoly on funeral homes. Across the U.S., it looks like you've got choices when it comes to funeral homes. But many of them, thousands, are secretly owned by one giant corporation, Service Corporation International. SCI owns brands like Dignity Memorial, Rose Hills, Neptune Society, but keeps the original local names so you think it's a family business. And because most of us don't shop around for funerals while we're grieving, SCI can charge 30 to 100% more than real independent providers. Caskets marked up thousands. Basic services have hidden fees. Cremations upcharge with vague administrative costs. And in many states, there's little regulation on funeral pricing. SCI knows you're vulnerable and they profit off that grief. Death is inevitable, but the exploitation of it shouldn't be. But when corporations come into play, they want to profit off your birth, life, and even your afterlife.
Sure do.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
Yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
Should
in this.
the human race survive?
This is the guy that's basically running America from the back room, and he can't answer whether or not humans should exist. Okay, he's got his tentacles everywhere, all over Trump's office. From people like David Sachs in the Office of Science and Technology Policy to companies like Palantir, if you remember, they're creating a master database on all of us, down to Doge and all the way up to the Vice President J.D. Vance. He's all over Trump's cabinet as well, from the Department of Defense to the Department of State, Department of Energy, also the Department of Health and Human Services. Let me just read some quotes from this insane interview called Peter Thiel and the Antichrist. Here he's talking about trans, and he says, quote, "The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's, man, it's so pathetically little. And okay, we want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body." What the f? He also told the story of when he was at PayPal and he took his entire company to a, quote, freezing party, and that you could freeze your whole body or just your head. And this part where he's asked whether fusing humans with computers is heretical from a Christianity perspective, and he says, yeah, I don't know. I think the word nature does not occur once in the Old Testament, and so there is a sense in which the way I understand the Judeo-Christian inspiration, it is all about transcending nature. Maybe I'm just the simpleton here, and I'm the one who doesn't get it, but I don't think we should all become computers.
Let's go back. So you grew up around voodoo?
I knew about it, like different spells and stuff like that, if you want to call it that. How to make a woman fall in love with you, how a woman makes a guy fall in love with her, how to listen to hell and stuff like that.
Crazy. How would these subjects get broached in your household?
My grandmother, she grew up around it more. My mom had a spell put on her, supposedly. It made her stomach swell up with, they don't know what. But she used to steal oranges and stuff off of people's trees in Georgia. And one of the neighbors where she lived at on this dirt road and told her to stop doing it or she was going to put a spell on her. And she hung up something in the tree. My mom ate it and she got like inflated or something. So that's where we got, I guess, introduced to it. And my cousins, the older ones, they would teach us stuff too. Like, don't eat spaghetti from a chick you just met or if she offers it to you.
Why?
Because, well, it's nasty. But her cycle, making the sauce for the pasta, they would use that and give it to the guy to make a guy fall in love. And for a guy to do it, he would use his underarm sweat and cook it in that noodle water, put his underarm sweat in it to make a female do the same thing.
Are you serious? Is this stuff real? How prevalent was that in your household?
My parents did. They had like a Ouija board and stuff, and back before they had, I guess, their religious awakening, we had a Ouija board, and I was never exposed greatly to it. It was more so like my dad would show us how to lift people when they sit in the chair and you stack your hands up on top of them until you all feel the heat rise up, and then you lift the person out of the chair and they float, stuff like that.
He taught you how to do that?
Yeah.
Let's go into that. I've never heard anything like
really?
This. I've never.
Wow.
I don't know anything about this stuff.
So you sit in a chair, right? And you have one person on each. So you have one person on this knee, this elbow, and one at the back.
Like touching or sitting or?
Not touching yet. Then they're all standing around you. The person in the chair is sitting, everybody else is standing around you. Then they take their hands and they stack their right hand first, and then they stack their left hand on top of that. So it's a big pattern. Each one is stacking over and over until all the hands are complete. Then when the top person, the top hand says they feel the heat, and everybody's going to be calling out, I feel the heat. When they feel the whatever is rising up through their hand, when it gets to the top person, they all go like this and they touch this side, this elbow, and the person at the back of the neck does that, and you lift the person up and they float.
You seen this happen?
Yeah. I've done it to my sister, me and my cousins.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. Yeah.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Like they're legitimately floating.
Legitimately. Well, you're touching them and they're in the air.
It's like some levitation stuff.
Like that. But they're not, you don't let go. You keep your fingertips on them. And I think that's where the energy goes back into them and they lower back down.
Whoa.
You should look it up. Yeah.
I will look it up.
Definitely.
Wow.
We'll do it one time. I need some more people. But it's legit. My dad used to do, he did it in the Army during a
talent
show. And that's what my dad did with some of his coworkers. And they had the biggest guy sit in the chair and he had females do it, all women. And they lifted up the biggest guy in their unit out of the chair.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Totally wasn't expected to go down this road.
Yeah.
So what is it? Is it a religion?
Like voodoo comes from Africa, and according to who you talk to or what the belief is, that was our original religion, but it was not religion. It was just a spirituality. guilty of the manipulation of the spirit realm.
I don't know. Do you guys like? I enjoy this dude's interviews. I enjoy his videos on YouTube, his shooting videos and stuff. And when I see him on an interview, I watch. But do you think that type of energy he's tapping into is the reason he's one of the top Army Rangers out there, Special Forces? That's like at the forefront. I mean, look what he's dabbling into. Ouija boards, you know, some say it's their original religion from Africa. I don't know. But maybe is there a reason why he's pushed to the forefront? I mean, how many soldiers are out there that are badasses like him? You know, he can go on for days and days, but these are the guys that are put on our screen, and look what they're dabbling in. I don't know, y'all. Something that made me think while I was watching that.
And the LA homeless grift continues. Last week, LAHSA, which stands for the LA Homeless Services Authority, released this presser claiming that declining homelessness is now a trend in Los Angeles. They say that according to the annual homeless count that they do, the numbers are going down. But then a few days later, watchdog journalist from LAist publishes this bombshell report saying that LAHSA moved hundreds out of LA city homeless count without informing elected officials. They write, quote, LA Homelessness Agency revised the locations of over 400 shelter people in its 2025 homeless count, moving them out of the city of LA in the days before the public release of the findings this week. The moves were made without informing elected officials who had seen the earlier numbers. And on top of that, the CEO of LAHSA, who I call Miss Big Pearls, is out there saying that budget cuts could jeopardize next year's homeless count. She's saying, quote, we anticipate that the current allocations will not provide enough funding for LAHSA to conduct an unsheltered count in 2026. Okay, so I pulled up the proposed 2025-26 budget for the city of LA. And in it, it says, the proposed budget provides LAHSA with $50.6 million, an increase in funding of $7.9 million from 24 to 25. So what the hell is she talking about? Okay, just so everybody knows, LA spends approximately almost $1 billion on homelessness every single year. And these are the results. This is what they're touting as a big success, which is an infinitesimal decrease in the number if we were to just take them at their word. Me, all this suggests is that they don't really care about solving the problem. They just want more money.
Bro, I worked 142 hours this week and still got an email asking if I could squeeze in a little extra. Ah, yes. In France, we call that exploitation. Also burnout. Also Tuesday. You guys don't grind? Oh, I grind. My espresso beans. Then I take a 2-hour lunch and a nap. How many vacation days do you get? 38, not counting holidays. I just took 3 weeks off to stare at the ocean. I took half a day to get a tooth pulled. And my boss said, hope you can still hop on the 4 p.m. call. Did they charge you? Yeah, and they emailed me a survey after. How would you rate your pain on a scale of 1 to you should have had better insurance? You guys treat work like a religion. No, religion gives you Sundays off. You ever think maybe your country just replaced happiness with productivity? Yeah, we romanticize being miserable. If you're not exhausted, people think you're lazy. If I work past 4 p.m., my coworkers stage an intervention. I once sneezed during a lunch break, and my manager said, we'll make up the time later. You okay? I clapped when my plane landed. I'm not okay. You're one circle back away from snapping, huh? I told my boss, no worries at all, as I felt my soul leaving my body. Do you even know how to relax? I relax aggressively. Like I have 9 minutes before guilt kicks in.
Look at the Wendy's logo.
Break it down for me.
Wendy's logo has a subliminal message in it.
That is crazy.
Okay, so you see the little girl, right? Look at her collar. What does it say? The Wendy's girl, the little pigtails, M-O-M. Do you see mom?
Right.
Okay, you know why it's mom?
No.
Because when the founder, Dave Thomas, I think his name is Dave Thomas, when he created that, he wanted everybody to feel at home, because what makes you feel at home when you're eating? Mom.
Sure.
Yeah. So he made the restaurant look like a home. It has warm colors. It has all this stuff. So he wanted to make you feel nice and subtle and calm. And he put that subliminal message in there that says mom. The same thing with KFC. Go to the KFC, what's his name? The Colonel.
I love KFC.
You love KFC?
Wait, hold on.
Hold on.
What are you doing here?
Wait. Wait, hold on. Come on, bro. Hold on, fam. You love KFC.
Yeah.
Show's over, bro. I'm out of here. So, KFC, did you know that KFC, the Colonel, he's also a Freemason? Go to his tombstone.
Right way.
I think
Go
I've
the
seen
fucking way.
Go to his tombstone.
I think I've seen
It has the
something
Freemason compass.
And they tried to make it seem like he was just. I think he started KFC at like 70 or
He did.
60.
He did.
70 or 60? Then that's when you get on? It's kind of crazy.
But think about the chicken, though. Think about the food. Think about all the stuff that we have in our faces all the time. These people aren't just put in place and just came up and just, I'm rich and successful. No. Think about it. So you go to his gravestone. It's a Freemason
That's what I just
compass
said,
with a
yo.
logo on there. That's why I don't eat chicken. Chicken causes mucus and cancer, or mucus and acid at the same time.
Yeah,
It's the only meat that does that. I'm telling you.
I've studied the Columbine killers who showed up to high school. They brooded on their resentment for maybe thousands of hours. Well, you can get a long way down a very deep rabbit hole if you brood on your resentment for 1,000 hours. And God only knows what you're inviting in. And you do invite it in because this is a terrible thing to understand. The spirit of your aim answers your prayers. So if you're obsessed with resentment and revenge, the spirit of resentment and revenge will reveal itself to you in your imagination. That's how your thoughts work. So people ask, well, are prayers answered? It's like, well, it depends on who you're praying to, how you're praying, and what it is that you're aiming at. They'll be answered. Like something will answer, and you bloody well better be sure that the wrong thing isn't answering.
Nearly all symptoms of ill health are caused either directly or indirectly by parasites. And my favorite, among 138 persons who were insane patients at an asylum, when autopsies were performed post-mortem, roundworms of several species were always found. When my family realized and accepted the possibility that our son's autism may be caused by parasite infection, it was not long before we could see that we had our answer. Historically, it is known that children are at higher risk for worm infection regardless of their hygienic conditions. This is also understood that worms produce material that are toxic to their host, and these toxins can change the chemistry of the blood. We began a protocol to remove the parasites, and soon after found evidence of parasites and worms in his stool. We then saw a change in our son, including his countenance. These books and pages, thousands of pages, all address the chemical changes in the blood, including lower leukocytes, hemoglobin. The most universal symptom of parasite infection is the mere presence of eosinophiles. The mere presence of eosinophiles is a marker for parasites. Despite this historic information, our families have spent thousands of dollars on lab tests, and the results showed that indeed there is presence of eosinophiles. 100 years ago, he would have been treated for parasites with these indicators.
For thousands, 50,000 years, really. And so there was an influx in the 1950s and the 1970s of higher vibrational beings. The controlling consciousness that is in charge at this moment of this planet is what is and are aware of every incarnate being that comes into this planet. Through sexual union between a male and a female, energy is then sent up and vibrates up through frequencies. They have technology to be able to see where, and then a soul is then attracted to a lifetime. And then the soul will then, this is just one way, a soul will then come to the womb of the mother, and they can track this. They can track this from happening. Okay, so in the 1950s, there was something called Project Oak Tree. Project Oak Tree, this is the truth about Project Oak Tree. Project Oak Tree, the oak tree itself is symbolic of Lucifer. They use the term oak tree. Oak tree is synonymous with Lucifer. So in the the controlling power that has at this time power over this planet is aware that there are very, very, very powerful beings. I don't know what you would want to call them, demigods, gods, whatever you want to call them, that there was an influx of them coming. So they didn't know where and when they were going to be here, but they needed to find a way of tracking them.
Demonic possession right in front of your face. They always have to show you who their god is and that they are literally satanic. Watch what Whiz Khalifa does right here in this video. You see that tongue? We're gonna talk about that in a minute. They are mocking you. And read the caption. But where have we just seen this very recently? The same exact thing, same tongue movement and everything. By the way, notice all the red and black. That's right, The Weeknd had just gone viral for the same thing not too long ago. And this is obviously the mocking tongue. You remember when that one guy came out talking about it and everyone called him crazy? Beyond popular opinion, you don't have to do a hand sign to do the mocking tongue. Now first, let's address all the people who are saying in the comments that Whiz Khalifa is not satanic. Whiz Khalifa was my generation, and we all knew it. Just look at his video, Black and Yellow, the shirt right there. Oh, you think it's a one-off? No, that's him every single day. There's the boff again on his ring. We can go far into the tongue stuff, but let me tell you who popularized it within entertainment. It was the Rolling Stones. The same Rolling Stones that made the song where the devil was literally speaking himself. Satan himself speaking, because these artists literally channel the devil. Like Rain Man. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul and faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moments of doubt and pain. By the way, there was no doubt. Made dang sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. I watched in glee while your kings and queens fought for 10 decades for the gods that they made. The industry is so evil, it's the things I'm not saying that are the worst. Get out of it while you can.
Why is Netanyahu going on the Nelk Boys? Why does he do interviews with Brett Baer and other American journalists and refuse to do interviews with people who are in his own country who are journalists? You know why? Because they would be like, hey, why are you corrupt and take money from Qatar and then come to our country and accuse other people of taking that? You put your corruption trial on pause. Netanyahu, what's going on with your political coalition? They might ask him some like actually difficult questions. Even pro-Israel, like pro-Israeli journalists would still be like, hey, hold on a second here. You're doing a lot of shady stuff, you know, in our country. Not to mention the war in Gaza. And so I think that's what kind of took everybody, you know, aback, just the sheer way that they just let him spout off like this. And I mean, it's not a surprise. It was obvious that this was going to go this way in the beginning. But what I have found more interesting is actually the I would say, universal condemnation of the way that they handled it. Again, Ryan, you and I would die for the opportunity to have Bibi Netanyahu.
Yeah.
This is not a platforming debate at all, okay? I would love nothing more to sit down with the guy and be like, okay, let's go, bro. You know, let's go. It would be fun. I would do it with anybody. Kim Jong, any dictator, Putin, you know, any of these people. It's about the way that you conduct yourself during that, and specifically also to recognize, especially when the guy is saying openly, I'm doing this to reach young people. And then you can see, not just in the comment section, but I really would say in the condemnation and the polling around Israel, around the issue, you have to try and represent that. To the extent that you have a duty, let's put journalistic ethics and all of that aside. I always look at it as a duty to the audience. And like for our audience, obviously 18 to 35-year-olds, people who are interested in politics, it's obvious it's an issue they care deeply about, and let's get into the details. And I think that's really where they failed on that.
When you send your child to school, that's no longer your child. That's why they always wait for your kid to go to school. The police and CPS will wait till they go to school and go to school to talk to them, because the school is the parent now, and the school will give them access to your child. And you say, no, the school is your parent. That's why you have to have permission to get your child out of school. You just can't go get them out of school. You go to jail. It's not your child, but people don't know that. So you give up a lot of rights by sending your children to public schools as a parent. If an emergency was to happen in this country, and we've seen this, whether that's a school shooting, a terrorist attack, or a tornado, you cannot go get your kid. I don't care what's going on, because you're not the parent anymore. That's why the school is obligated to report things. That's why if your kid wanted to come to school and play Charlene instead of Charleston, the school don't have to tell you. And the school can have a dress-up closet for your kid to go to school and dress up as a girl while at school and not tell you nothing, because you're not the parent during these hours.
We've seen videos of that.
Well, apparently the animals that's been leaving Yellowstone Park, they've been leaving for a reason. And the reason is they know much more about what's about to happen than we know. So they're saying that a gaping hole filled with milky blue water just appeared in Yellowstone Park. I don't think you heard what I just said, right? And you asked,
why the animals are leaving? Apparently, y'all don't know that is a super volcano.
We now have fish dying in the water, and this behind me is DC. There is a massive problem, y'all. The problem is it's been 7 days, I'm still covering floods happening every single day. Come right back to the fish. The locals in DC said that they have never seen anything like this in their life, and they have always lived there. This was a few hours ago in Nevada. Hurricanes aren't even here yet, and we have creeks being turned into rivers every day. And we have cloud formations like this popping up every single day in other parts. This up here is South Carolina, where clouds are falling from the sky. And we have cloud shelves literally touching the trees. And 1000% unrelated, not relevant whatsoever, look how beautiful the clouds are right here. I've never seen anything like that before. Let me tell you what we're entering. We're entering the place where it's normal for the US to flood every single day. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to show you guys Virginia yesterday. Pretty crazy, right? Obviously, we're aware that something must be increasing the flooding. Even the Weather Channel came out and said 70% abnormal. So is it connected to the thing that's unaliving these fish? Who knows, but I can tell you this. Hurricane season is waking up right now as we speak, and I wonder if that'll be affected as well.
It's going to be a rough one, y'all. It's where it's trending.
The 33% that fell at Mount Hermon on the 33rd parallel, that's why you get the number 33 all over the place all the time. And there are people who worship these entities. And so anytime they do something, it's going to be in the name of 33, or in the number, it has going to have something to do with the number 33. Like all these wars in the Middle East, all of them. Baghdad, Iraq, 33rd parallel. Kabul, Afghanistan, 33rd parallel. You know, the war in Israel with Gaza, 33rd parallel. You know, it's Damascus, Syria, 33rd parallel. The bombs at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, 33rd parallel. Over and over and over. It's like they're having to, it's like some sort of homage, if you will, to the 33rd, to the fallen angels, right? And so, or at least that's what I think. And so everything they do has to be in the number 33.
This guy just became the NFL's #1 enemy after exposing owners were colluding with each other. Meet Pablo Torre, former Sports Illustrated, ESPN journalist, and host of his own podcast show, Pablo Finds Out. On June 24, 2025, a 61-page ruling between the NFL and the NFL Players Union was exposed, coming off the back of Deshaun Watson's $230 million fully guaranteed deal. The NFL management encouraged owners to reduce guarantees in veteran contracts, calling it market discipline specifically for the quarterback position. Also, the management council is a third-party system to the NFL owners that do all the negotiation with the players' union. Essentially, they are the shield to the NFL owners who are really calling the shots. Back to the court case. What's even better is the NFLPA did provide compelling evidence to prove the owners were colluding with each other to control the market. But as you can guess, they still lost, saying there wasn't enough evidence to prove formal colluding. What's most eye-opening is the players' union and the NFL both agreed to keep this court hearing confidential until our guy Pablo published it in June 2025, which most likely caused the executive director of the union, Lloyd Howell Jr., to step down. He was not fired, just strongly encouraged to step down from his position. Apparently, he was writing off strip club visits with players as business expenses, but who knows the truth? We all know how the NFL operates, and once you cross them, well, you're in trouble. Which makes me think Pablo Torre is most likely on the NFL shit list.
The thing with Epstein was he was obsessed with eugenics and creating his own race.
Perhaps one of the lesser-known threads about Epstein was his obsession with secret science.
I desperately want to know why Jeffrey Epstein knew so much about my work. I was in the Harvard mathematics department. Jeffrey Epstein was absolutely connected to the Harvard math department. I want to know why.
More specifically, his obsession with gravity and propulsion. He would fly physicists out to his island, Kip Thorne, Stephen Hawking, Murray Gell-Mann. On his little St. James Island, he built a temple with occult symbology, and one of his victims claimed to see a UFO while on Zorro Ranch.
I saw a UFO when I was there, you know, outside at New Mexico. I went to have a cigarette and I saw a weird, like, lights flying, and then I had the weird thing waking up in the lab.
It was like he was a front, a global honey trap for secret science, arbitraging the lameness of modern academia and the sexual repression of its scientists.
There's a mural called like the Centiles, which is like the elite spelled backwards, and it's like this big mural of all the different people that were associated. Les Wexner, you can see all the characters. Ghislaine Maxwell's depicted as a dragon biting a child in half. It's all very nasty stuff. And then there's also an antenna going up with an FBI flag on it, with a flying saucer hanging off the top of it with Epstein's face inside the window. So it's like, okay, so like, who knew and what was he actually trying to achieve in terms of his own scientific ideas and explorations? And obviously, like I said, he's funding all of these different movements. He knew everyone on the Nobel Peace Prize board.
Hunter Biden came out of hiding and did this absolutely unbelievable interview on Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan. And I think we may have found the Democrats' version of Joe Rogan. This interview was 3 hours long, and he gave us some information that was just unbelievable. He claims that Joe Biden was on Ambien during the 2024 presidential debate, the famous one, Ambien, for a debate. He then went on a rant about all of the establishment Democrats like George Clooney. He said, F him and everybody around him. George Clooney is not an actor, he's a brand. Then James Carville took a shot. James hasn't won a race in 40 years. David Axelrod had one success in his political life, and that was Barack Obama, and that was because of Barack Obama. Decent point. You see that in sports sometimes, like you just happen to draft one guy and it's just amazing. This is my favorite. The Pod Save America guys were junior effing speechwriters on Barack Obama's Senate staff who have been dining out on the relationship with him, making millions. Anita Dunn has made $40 million off the Democratic Party. What influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the lowest audience on cable news. He then did the meme where he said, if there's no illegal immigrants in America, who's going to clean our toilets? Remember that happened on The View? Well, he said, people are really upset about illegal immigration. F you. How do you think your hotel room gets clean? How do you think you have food on your table? Who do you think washes your dishes? He then went on to say, if he becomes president in 3 years, which I mean, would be unbelievable, crazier things have happened. He would go to El Salvador, tell the president there, send everyone back. And if he doesn't, he would invade El Salvador. This was just 3 or 4 of the crazy things that Hunter said during this. There was probably 72 of them. It was a 3-hour-long interview. Another podcast came out with him today, too. He's like on a media tour. He said Nancy Pelosi drove his dad out of the race. They already made a decision. They clearly made a decision. When I say they, I mean the speaker. The Democrats have found their Joe Rogan.
Dude, casinos are panicking right now because they're saying that tourism numbers are like really like declining, bro.
That's, you know what? I hate to say this, but that's good. Vegas got too ridiculous, man.
All the money we gave them.
Vegas is ridiculous.
Yeah,
now,
and honestly, you see like the price increases and everything. Once they started doing like resort fees, and then once they started charging for parking,
yeah, man.
And then once like the clubs are already ridiculous.
Aside from just the nightlife, just the hotel, everything from the hotel room to the taxes, to the resort fees, to the local tax, to the this tax, to the breathing tax, to the towel tax, to the stretch your arm out tax. Like everything has a tax to it, man, or there's some kind of fee. And I remember going to Vegas, man, where gambling paid for everything, so the buffets used to be cheap.
Yeah.
You know, now the buffet's 30 and 40 and 50 bucks. And it's like, 60, man. 70, and then they wonder why I go in with a backpack. You know?
They had a bunker in Alabama filled with missing kids. They said these 3 men were arrested in Alabama, y'all. They had a bunker in the woods that had children in there. And they were doing unthinkable things to them children. This shit is so sickening, y'all. So they said they didn't just hurt the children. They rugged them. They violated them on camera. They sold it. They sold some of them. This shit is wild, fool. Like, they deserve to be under the jail. And if you know what I'm saying, let me know in the comment. Oh, this happened in Bibb County in Alabama, in the woods, somewhere secluded. And 2 out of the 3 men already confessed to what they did. The third one, he trying to say, nah, it wasn't me. When the police finally cracked this case, they said it was one of the worst jumps they ever seen. Like, all the stuff they collected, the evidence, they said it was just so graphic. So they say the town that this happened in is very quiet, and this is not normal. But police like, hold up. So it's a quiet town, and these are only 3 people that did it, and they've been doing this for years, nobody knew. They're like, nah, we think other people was involved. And I think so too. What do y'all think? Ain't no way these 3 men is the only people that's involved in this. They said that bunker was in a hidden location, and it wasn't just thrown up into pieces real quick. They said no. That junk was like somebody knew what they was doing, and they didn't want to get caught. The questions I'm asking is, how many other places is it like this in the world? And let alone how many places like this is in Alabama? Y'all, we must keep our children safe from people like this. This shit is crazy, fool.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Quick reaction today. My family are on their way as we speak. I gotta go pick them up. So I'm cutting it short, y'all. I gotta do some cleaning, a little bit of vacuuming before they come. Gotta get a video out to you guys. So I will be getting videos out while they're here. They might be a little shorter videos. I'll try to get the hour bangers in, but we got a lot to do. They want to see the baby, and I want to spend some time with my parents. I don't see them often no more because I moved out of state. So, but I'll be sure to get some videos up for you guys. They just might be 40-45 minute videos, y'all. But I ain't gonna talk too much, y'all. I got a lot to do. This is Segovia, signing out of the Man Cave. Hope everyone out there has a good day. Later.